Google is changing the way we play video games forever? Plus, astronauts keep getting herpes flare-ups in space. Also, one very common sex position isn't possible on the International Space Station. All this and more on this week's bowl of Dude Soup.
I can't wait to talk about herpes.
I am so clickbaited right now.
I read that article and I was like, oh, I know what this is. I already knew what it was.
The common sex position is the pile driver, right?
It's the...
I'll save it for the show.
What do you call that? Never mind. No, yeah, I'll save it. I'll save it.
I refuse to... Everything should be possible. It just requires a lot of upper body strength. It doesn't matter if you're...
No.
No, there's
you're
no
in zero
gravity.
G, yeah. Yeah, well, that's... You got to, like, pull and then push.
Uh,
But you have nothing to...
Look, we'll get to it. I'm very excited to talk about that. But first, this episode of Dude Soup is brought to you by Squarespace, Eero, and Upstart. And hi, I'm Alana. I'm joined by Bruce, Adam, and Lawrence.
Hello, I'm Bruce.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Adam.
First up, I wanted to talk about, because it just happened, the Google Stadia?
Stadia, like stadium.
Yeah.
Stadia.
Stevia.
I don't know. Do you guys want to explain it in a lot of... I can. It basically lets you stream games to any hardware device you want, your PC, your phone, or your TV. There's a controller. It's coming this year. The dream that Google has, which might actually be possible because Google has the most money of anyone ever and so many resources, is that you could watch a trailer for a game, click a play now button, and immediately be playing the game with no download, which is really cool through your browser.
When someone lies to your face and tells you that, yes, it is really
That's
cool.
cool.
That is possible.
It is possible.
It is totally possible.
Just not for many people.
Not for many people. And that's why it's going to... If you're watching a trailer, it's going to be doing checks in the background about your latency and your distribution to a node center. And if you pass the quality checks, a little button will pop up and say play now. The thing is, that's a marketing path. You have to make a purchasing decision at some point. So I'm curious what that's going to look like.
That is a good point.
Yeah, they were pitching to developers there. So this was like, you want people to buy your game? Here's a way to reduce the friction of the purchasing decision moment.
Yeah, that's interesting. Bruce and I were saying this for a decade. This is exactly on live, but on live, as we said, was 10 years too early.
Yeah.
Way too early.
Fast forward 10 years, here we are.
Yeah.
Now Google's doing it.
Yeah.
Not to mention, Sony was also trying to get ahead of it with PS Now.
Game Pass
where
is sort of similar.
similar but different.
Friendlier to people who don't have
xCloud's going to be more of that. It's interesting
GeForce
that
Now was a thing.
What's GeForce Now?
That's NVIDIA's streaming platform.
that's sort of like
They all have them.
Yeah.
that everyone's doing it,
But nobody
and
uses them.
so that's the weird
I
thing.
don't know
is
anybody that uses them.
that's the big conspiracy question, right? Why are all these multi-billion-dollar companies working so hard to create a system that's closed off?
The barrier to entry is lower.
Well, and you want to own the next thing.
But that too. But I mean, like Lawrence said, if you just click a button and play the game, and then your $3 is gone, that's way easier than
easy
I
to
gotta go
sell.
to the Windows Store, I gotta download this 90 gig file or whatever, or I gotta go to fucking GameStop, which nobody does, and it's like, I'm gonna buy this game, walk home, put it in. It's like barrier to entry is so low because you see a trailer, you're like, I want to play Assassin's Creed, bang.
The
Done.
mobile gaming market is the most profitable by a lot. I think it's like 42% of the market is how much it holds. And that's the same thing where a microtransaction is a button and then like a face recognition and that's it.
That's it.
It's so easy to do. Even that is harder through a console. You still have to usually like put in your PayPal or whatever else. If you could do that through a streaming service, it's just easy money.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I just realized.
What?
So mobile games are like that because it appeals to everyone. It's basically just a bunch of lottery stuff, casino games. If console games get that easy to play, they're going to start looking like that too. If you have millions and millions of people who can handle one button and a stick, you're going to have one button and stick games, Candy Crush style games.
I mean, we're seeing more and more of those on Steam, only because we
Switch has a lot too.
That's true.
Yeah, we were just talking about that today. There's just like a lot of garbage, like little click and point stuff. But it is stuff that's being brought over from mobile onto Steam. Every time we do Wheelhouse, it's just like we roll our eyes when we see a Unity game and it's got a big floaty, giant number where it's like hit number one.
Touch interface, yeah.
And then it gives you 3 stars and you go, God, it's just Angry Birds engine.
See, it's not garbage though because people are playing them. So it's
That's true.
Wait, hold on.
It's-
That argument doesn't work.
No, but
It does.
It totally does
I mean,
because
McDonald's is garbage.
How
Well,
dare
come on
you.
now.
And everyone eats it.
I'm not sure that everybody would agree with you.
It
on
is
that
not
one.
good for
So,
your body.
I didn't say it was good for you.
This is
It's
pop
garbage.
music aficionado Bruce is coming out a little
Yeah,
bit,
yeah,
right?
no, I didn't say it was
No.
good for you.
Okay.
I also didn't say, I don't think it's garbage. I'm saying that it's not that bad.
I guess it's
And-
not garbage because it can't decompose.
Well, it's also not garbage because you don't have to play it. Regardless, I mean, like, you have a choice.
But it's cheap and available. It's for the
Yeah.
it's for the masses.
Exactly.
It's
Yes.
yeah.
Is there something wrong with that?
Well, so the idea is that if it's all zero sum, Ubisoft made Assassin's Creed Unity or Odyssey. But if they were marketing to like soccer moms and sorry for the ageism, old ladies and all what have you, then they're like, oh boy, they can't handle like these gear menus and like open world exploration. We got to change Assassin's Creed into a match 3 because people love matching colors. Yeah. So there is something about being on a platform with a broad appeal that starts to change the product you make.
Yep.
And I think there is a sort of normies get out thing that happens in gaming where, I mean, it happened in PC gaming a lot where once PC gaming got a lot easier, the game design started to morph to match the audience and what they were tolerant of. Mm-hmm. If you put a barrier of like 2 hours of technical bullshit in front of a game, only the most technically savvy people are going to get to that game, which means you can sort of design to them. But yeah, if it's hit a button and play a game no matter where you are and whatever you're on, yeah, the future of that is going to be interesting, especially kind of like what Alana was alluding to when game design starts feeding into the monetization model. So yeah, if you're watching a trailer and it says play now and then you jump right into where the trailer is, you're going to have 5 minutes of the awesomest thing ever. They'll say buy this game, and then suddenly you're just thrown out into the cold where you have to go like farm the digital wastes.
And this is for sure going to have an impact on game development. And one thing that I find really interesting, I don't think that we should underestimate Google is the thing. They are going to shape the tech industry.
Never heard of them.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't. And they might.
They have
bail
so
out
much
on this.
money.
They
I'm
might
gonna
bail
send
out
you
on
such an angry message on Google Wave.
Yeah, I was gonna say they might bail out on.
I mean,
all
they
of the
failed
other-
on Google Plus.
Went
They
offline.
failed. Like Google Music's not that.
Google Plus. They
hard.
put a bunch of money into and a bunch of time and effort.
Yeah, I mean, it is possible, but I don't think that we should underestimate them. Is my thing.
Yeah.
And when it comes to video games, the landscape that we're in right now is everyone's trying to make games that people will play for 3 years that they will put all of their money into repeatedly. This would kind of undo that. So I think a streaming service where you can pick up and play anything and immediately just like buy it for $3 will probably get us back to games that are it will be more like mobile games. I think we would get less of the Destinies that people are trying to push right now, which is probably what Halo's going to be like, or the Anthems, or the online only.
Well, that's like the
archetypes.
The analogy there is albums to songs. And as we move forward more to digital, like with Google Play or whatever versus Best Buy, you're not buying albums anymore. You're buying songs. And that's kind of what I think they're going for. Is
You're
that
not
like
even buying anymore either?
Right. You're just like, oh, I'll rent
Leasing.
this for a month or whatever. And that's kind of what this is. It's like, instead of, I hate to say it, but it's like the EA Access thing where it's like, you pay $5. What was Anthem did it, where it's like you pay $5 and play 10 hours.
Yeah.
I think that's what this is. I think that we're on the way to that, which is you don't buy a full game and have the full game for the rest of your life. You have a game for 10 hours for $5.
It's like AOL minutes.
Yeah. It kind of
Don't
is.
some of the streaming services like Amazon, isn't it like that, where you can rent a movie for like 24 hours or
Oh,
something?
all streaming services.
yeah.
are like, yeah, they're all like that.
Oh,
I mean,
funny.
that's sort of how renting has always been.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. You rent for like
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
days
and
at
then you
Blockbuster.
except now instead of giving you a fee and for either not rewinding or bringing it back late,
Yeah.
they just take it away from you.
Yeah.
Which is convenient and then also kind of inconvenient in a way.
But you never own it. And it's the same with the
Never
game.
did,
Like
yeah.
you pay $5, click that button, $5 for Assassin's Creed, play for 10 hours. It goes away, and you had your experience.
No,
Pay
you
more
can't
for more
mod
time
anymore.
or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
You can't.
that is sort
You
of the bigger
would not be
concern.
able to mod. You
No.
also won't be able to cheat.
Yeah, whatever.
But this will also,
I mean, dedicated servers prevented you from cheating anyway, most of the time, some of the time.
yeah. I mean, so part of this is they're planning to use their own data centers, meaning they bypass public internet, which should reduce the risk of cheating and allow for crossplay, which is actually pretty cool.
Well, so it reduces the ability of you to cheat, but it gives them the opportunity to mess with everything about the game.
Yeah.
So EA, I think it was Activision or EA or whatever, they got some patents on like. So it starts to get really funky. In the future, you could like say, I want to play a multiplayer game. And they're like, great, let's spin up a server for you. And then it matches you with a bunch of bots. And you don't know that, and they don't have to tell you that. And then you're playing them, and you beat them all, and you feel great about yourself. Like, because you're a premier member or whatever, they just give you a better experience.
Yeah.
They could also just sort of tweak everything behind the scenes to give certain players a better experience. So let's say that they have big data that shows after losing 3 matches in a row, players leave and never come back. So if you're on your third match and it's not going well, the game could just be like, let's just give you a smidge more health. Like let's fudge some things to keep everybody playing and spending money, as opposed to being authentically like a pure gaming experience. And they don't have to tell you any of that stuff.
I always assumed the future of Call of Duty would just be one hallway where people stand on either side and shoot each other, and they just respawn.
It's Counter-Strike.
I mean, more or less. I think that was a level.
My favorite.
Yeah. We talked about that yesterday.
Ice World, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the one thing, actually, because you're hitting on a point there, Lawrence, which both Bruce and I are I think our heads were hurting as our eyes were rolling so hard, because they kept being like,
Gamers.
you can like the whole thing with on live, everything else, latency is the killer of all of this.
Yeah.
If you even notice latency on your television, it's sort of like it's jarring and it doesn't feel right. If you know the game is supposed to be more responsive, so they show you controlling an eagle flying above Greece at whatever 60, and he's like, look at me, move those consoles. Show me a CS:GO match. Show me someone who's doing 1-to-1 and they're actually getting headshots and it's actually registering, because I don't believe that.
No, I agree.
People are playing it this week at GDC, so we should.
What are they
What are they
playing?
playing? That's the question.
Well,
if they're playing a single player experience, then maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what they're playing, but we'll get impressions rolling out over the week. Is the
Yeah,
point?
sure.
There's not that much difference, really. So if you're playing a multiplayer game, your inputs are going to a server that, on a tick rate, every so many milliseconds calculates a frame of the game, and then it distributes all that data back to its clients. There's lag involved with that, and multiplayer games are pretty good about hiding lag. Assassin's Creed, is even a single player game, is really good about hiding input lag too, because there's so many animations. You hit up and your dude's like, oh, okay, and he starts running, but it's that startup that sort of hides the input. So I think there are some games that are very good for this, but like Tetris 99 or rhythm games that
Celeste.
no one plays anymore, Celeste, that's when 200 milliseconds of lag becomes super
Means
noticeable.
Well, it's the same with Overwatch or Apex or anything like that. That they build that lag in, like you said, but then everybody shits on it. It's like, oh, the netcode's bad or whatever, because when you see yourself fire, that's different than when somebody else saw you fire.
Yep.
So supposedly it should all be the same.
It's not.
Like if
it's not right now.
Well, but I mean, if it is on like somebody else's multiplayer server, like if it's on, then everybody should see the same thing. No,
They
because
do eventually.
because the internet.
Sometimes
It'd be different
games
speeds.
get off by like 2 or 3 frames, but then they adjust. So like this was a big thing back in Call of Duty. People would lose their minds because they would round a corner, shoot a guy, and then die. And in the replay, they never rounded the corner because there was a lag between what they saw on their console and what the server was saying happened in the game. So I don't expect a lot of that's going to change. The problem now is like the way the games hide it is when you're playing Overwatch and you click fire, bang, it fires immediately on your machine, but it fires like maybe 4 or 5 frames later on the server. You don't know that, and often you can't even realize it because it shows you hit markers right away. Sometimes not very often those get erased when the server goes back and says, oh, that person wasn't actually there, we just guessed because we didn't actually have data from them. So there's a lot of like, especially with multiplayer games, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors that happens right now. I don't think that game streaming a multiplayer game is going to change that much, aside from your input lag to the server is still going to be the same. It's really just the frames coming back to show you what's going on.
It's going to be worse.
I mean, I would assume it was going to be worse because
Yeah,
you
it
could
kinda
see
has to,
yourself firing. So then you're adding a whole nother layer of lag on top of the already lag that's built in.
It's more like the illusion that there was no lag goes away.
Yes, yeah, correct. So it's worse. So like then at that
It's
point,
conceivably worse.
I
yeah.
think it's just adding a new. Right now, the current issue is my monitor. Right, is my monitor getting a cable to it? What's the refresh rate on it? Is it fast enough? Is it good? There's no lag. Or you're on a TV, you set it to game mode or whatever, right? And it increases the refresh rate, or it gives you that. It's less of that visual input delay. But now I'm putting my trust in a company with nodes. Where they're like, we got nodes all over the planet, baby.
Yeah.
Trust us. We got nodes. I'd rather trust the stuff I have and my equipment. And
Yeah, you're giving them the control rather than you having it.
and then also, I mean, because I'm already sort of at the behest of my internet working or not. And now is my internet working or not? And are there servers keeping up with me and the potentially thousands or hundreds of thousands of other people playing this together? I don't see multiplayer working
And
in
with,
this.
with net neutrality gone.
oh yeah, no,
You
I
might
can't
have to
wait
pay
to
for
watch
gamer
this
internet.
video in 10 years and see what's happened.
Yeah, see how close we
We'll
are.
be like, this doesn't seem possible.
we will. I mean, it's possible.
in 10 years it's possible.
Yeah.
I don't know about this year.
I think it's possible now. There's just a lot of really uncomfortable ramifications. I don't think people are. It's going to be like Facebook. We're going to be after the fact and realize 10 years ago we shouldn't have given Facebook all these pictures and personal info.
Google makes most of their money off of ads. So a Google streaming service is going to be almost entirely ads.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
That's what it has to be.
Whoa.
And I don't know what that looks like
They
or
can
what
throw
that
banner
means.
ads at you while you're
That's
throwing
what
ads
I'm
over your
thinking,
game.
is that we're going to get ads over games.
Whoa,
I mean, they
absolutely.
Like
already
YouTube.
showed the ad, which was you watch an Assassin's Creed video and it says play now.
Well, but when you click play though,
Then
When you
Google
play it,
gets
I
a
think
cut
you'll
of
get
it, yeah.
ads that are like references to other Ubisoft games. or
imagine
like,
this,
like an overlay.
You're like, oh, you get to pay $2 to play, or don't pay. you can play the game now, but
Watch
you get an
the ads.
ad every 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh. That is some like
That's what I think will happen.
that's Black Mirror-y future.
But that's
where-
totally what I mean. That's what should happen. Makes sense. It's ad supported.
Yeah, at least
Yeah.
they're at least you're getting something in return for it. But man, then you are just a pardon the college level philosophy here, but yeah, you are just like a advertise ingesting sponge of consumption.
we are anyway, though.
That's
Yeah,
true.
That's what we've always been.
It's just been vaguely separate from video games, except in like Alan Wake, where they had the batteries.
Oh yeah, the Energizer
Yeah.
batteries.
It's
There's
the
some
only-
weird stuff about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But everything you watch on television and movies, they all have product integration. It's always
Does
been that way.
Netflix have an ad version? Is there a way, like, is there a version of Netflix that exists that has ads?
No.
That's
Hulu
not.
was the only one that tried that, and it bizarrely was seen as like a second-class service because of it.
And I mean, YouTube has YouTube Red. I don't see why they couldn't have Stadia.
Oh no, absolutely. They'll
was
definitely
red.
they'll have tiers
Yeah.
for sure.
But similar to Netflix and HBO and those things that work that don't have ads, the only ads they have are their own ads, which are still kind of annoying. We're like, I'm watching Game of Thrones. Yes, I know Veep's coming back.
I do not care.
Yeah, but the way their whole CMS server works and everything like that, that's redundant, right? That's like saying ATM machine.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yes.
Maybe,
their
yeah.
whole CMS. The way it works is that thing in the beginning is replaceable. That's actually a thing Rooster Teeth's even working on, so we don't have to edit in
Yeah.
the video. So that's something similar that I'm sure they're going to do. But regardless, I could see them advertising their own stuff, but I think it's going to be that would be way too jarring. That's way ahead. I
That's
don't
how
know.
Google makes their money. That's
It
what
is.
their
It
bread and butter
but,
is
but
ads.
I think
Yeah.
the way they're trying to make money here now is through game sales. They are trying to,
Which means they're going to push games on you, is what I figure.
right. No, yeah, I'm not saying. I think the scenario you are running in, where it's like every 5 minutes you got to stop and watch an ad.
I can see overlay existing.
That's more of a mobile thing. If you're playing, I think the goal is to get you to buy Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
I mean, yeah, now it is.
yeah.
But not in the future.
And this is at GDC. They're pitching to companies. They're not pitching to us yet. I
I
can
think they
see
will
a
at
future
E3.
where-
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be my guess.
You say play Assassin's Creed Odyssey now or whatever, and you got to watch a pre-roll ad, and then you start playing, and then Google algorithmically determines when you're not in combat because of the music, and then it's like, okay, you're like looting now. We'll serve you an ad. Jesus fucking Christ! Can you imagine like that programmatically YouTube can tell you that you're about to open a treasure chest, and it's like, blah, wait. You got to hear about this new double cheeseburger. And
Absolutely.
you're like, fuck. And then, okay, good, here we go. And
That's
then,
fine.
then you open up and get your little green sword.
That sucks, but then it's also kind of nice for people who can't afford $60 to buy a game.
Right, exactly. Well, that's what I was about to say. Is that like
It's not a terrible
I
option.
play Candy
Yeah.
Crush every single fucking night. Play it for like 15 minutes. It's all free. Never put a dime into it. But I can watch ads, and it'll give myself an extra life or whatever, and I'll play Candy Crush. Just watch an ad for 15 seconds. Totally worth it, by the way, to play for another 5 minutes or whatever. And that's exactly what they're going to do here.
Yeah,
exactly.
I only think of that because of the masses. The cooler stuff they showed was the thing of like you're stuck on a level and you can go, Xbox Snap Machinima app, and then. Do you want me to explain that joke?
You know that joke.
I know what that
It's the
means.
worst inside joke ever.
Oh God. Okay, so this is back. I thought we'd go one podcast where we don't.
I mean, I know what that means.
So
Well,
yeah.
but did you ever see it in action?
So I remember being talked down to by a number of people who worked at Machinima who are like, how do most people watch YouTube videos? I'm like, I don't know their computer, and they like slap me. I'm like, wrong.
Shut up.
It's on their phones and tablets because they need walkthroughs. We need to be a walkthrough channel. I'm like, sure. And that's so you can see the many metamorphoses of Machinima and all its changes. One of which were at one point they're like, we're doing walkthroughs.
Yeah,
like, sure,
whatever.
Because they had an integration with Microsoft where they're like, we're making the Machinima app. I remember they're like, it's as simple as saying Xbox Snap Machinima app.
Not easy to say.
Xbox Snap Machinima app. Yeah.
That's
not
how.
that easy
That's
to
how you
say.
got your gamer
Ultra
tag.
Fadge.
Yeah,
That's how I got it.
that's
It was a
right.
CAPTCHA.
yeah. They made us sign up for the Machinima app so we could snap it and do walkthroughs.
When you say it, you go Machinima app.
because it just eats.
Yeah, I know.
The
so hard to-
Machinima
There's so many
app.
words.
Like rocks in your mouth.
But I remember, we had to do the captcha. It's like, please prove you're not a person, and it's like, please enter this Ultra Fadge, and we're
I was
like,
like, that's the coolest capture I've ever seen. And I immediately made it my GTA tag.
Very
it
good.
was so close to being offensive.
So close.
It's like eating Fage yogurt. It's just like it's there in your face, but you're like, oh, but it's okay.
Try not to
Product
giggle at it.
Yeah. Or like, what is it when you graduate cum laude or whatever?
Oh, magna cum laude?
yeah. It was like
CUM.
the word comes right there.
I know.
Yeah. Congratulations, you're really smart. You got some in your hair. You got some smartness in your hair.
So one thing about this that I find really interesting is that they have created their own first-party studio, which is what Jade Raymond is heading, which is what I figured. They're not going to have her run hardware. She's never done that.
Like 4 years from now, they're gonna have a game.
But why?
But why?
Because they have to.
When it comes to, because they're not selling you a box, they're selling you a streaming service.
Yeah.
So like when it comes to PlayStation having amazing exclusives, they make those amazing exclusives so that you will buy their PS4, so that you will buy PS Plus, so that you will buy other digital games from other people, so they make 30%. Like the people who make those games, I'm sure are artists who love working on them. The reason PlayStation invests in them is so you'll buy their shit, so you keep spending money on their shit. It's business. It's not like for the love of the art. So then Google doing this doesn't make any sense if they're not selling you a box.
So think of it this way.
Is it exclusive to their streaming service?
Think of them like Sega. Sega was making games. They're like, oh, we'll make some great games, we'll make Sonic, whatever, and then they're like, boom, Dreamcast. That's what this is. I think they want to make games eventually. It's kind of the opposite, actually. They want to make games eventually so that people just only play the Google games on the Google platform. It's not going to work. I'm not saying that it'll work. I'm just saying that's what they want. They want a killer app on their platform so that people have to use their platform.
I just don't know that they'll have a hardware platform. So maybe it's
like
an Origin situation where they have exclusive games that are only on their thing and you're spending more. But they'd need a lot to justify that.
Correct.
Instead of just the one that takes 4 years to make.
You looked like you were going to talk and I interrupted.
Oh, no, it's fine. To me, I can't see that as anything more than just a promise to everyone that they're actually like, no, we're really trying this. Look, we hired somebody and we're going to give her like $30 million in 3 years to make a game, and this platform's probably not going to be around by the time it actually is finished. I mean, Amazon's been trying for what, 5 years to make a game with Lumberyard?
That was my thought. Was they said
they bought Double Helix, and what happened with that?
I
think it's just like they want the headlines of like, no, we're really doing it.
Yeah.
It's usually a lot of emotionless millionaires or billionaires having people give them spreadsheets and saying, these are the cost loss analysis. Here, check it out. Look at these spreadsheets, and they go, yes, no. And then they go, what's Amazon doing? They're like, they have a gaming studio. I want one too.
I will take one, please.
She looks pretty. Put her in charge of it.
Shutting down. Give me a good high quality diversity hire. And they flip through their book and
I honestly, it is as much as
because there aren't many job listings, right? You got to hire like if they're going AAA, you got to hire like 200 people.
Well, you also need an idea. And
well, yeah, sure.
That's what Jade Raymond's for.
Well, I mean, is she just gonna sit in a small room and go?
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
I mean,
a man who runs around.
I did that.
Yeah, I made that.
I mean, she did Watch Dogs. She started EA Motive. She's worked on a lot of shit.
She's got a lot.
She worked on it, but
fantastic resume.
But it's like at the end of the day, typically you start a studio up. So like, what's his? I forget his name. The guy from Valve who just started a new studio today.
Chet Falzak.
Yeah. Chet. Yeah, that's right. Him and forget the lady from Riot. They clearly have an idea. They have something they want to make. Where they're like, they probably were talking like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we made this? Because they're smart and they're designers and they're creatives.
We don't know. Jade Raymond might have an idea.
Maybe.
I mean, I imagine she has millions. But you're right in that this is probably done in reverse, where it was Google being like, huh.
Yeah. I mean,
and then she's like there and like, okay.
If they had done an interview with her and she's like, I have the world's greatest idea, but it requires nodes and like it requires the computing power and the internet of Google to make this thing happen.
We can
and
do
they're just
that.
like, well, this is perfect. But I'm pretty sure she's like, look at all the shit I've done. Like, you're hired. We'll figure it out later. Now we can look at Amazon and go, we have it too. Ha ha ha. This is why Disney bought Maker because they didn't know what
So you think the first party studio is pointless?
Pointless? No. There's always a point. And the point is to show how much bigger your dick is than the other guy. That's really.
I tend to agree.
So I mean, it's the same thing with. Like I know you haven't. You should probably read that. But I know we could go on forever about this. But what I was going to say, VR is the same way. VR doesn't have a killer app, so no one's buying VR.
Beat Saber.
I was going to say Beat Saber.
Beat Saber's gonna come in.
Beat Saber.
Well, they announced
It's
it.
awesome.
They announced it for the Oculus
Super
Quest,
hot.
and I was like, that sounds cool.
Yeah, no, it's super awesome. But I mean, like it's taken 4 years, 5 years to get there. HTC Vive should have been like Half-Life 3 on VR. That would have done it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Boink.
But it would have to be fun.
And Valve has to be able to
absolutely.
make
It would have
games.
to
I mean, the Portal thing is cool. What is it? The
Oh
lab?
yeah, the tiny little demo thing.
yeah, that's
Open the drawer. Shut the drawer.
Yeah, that's the free thing that came
It's
with it.
cute.
But again, nobody bought VR. It didn't catch on because there's no killer app.
Yeah.
It's and it's the same with this. It's like hopefully
I actually
Jade
think
Raymond.
the Oculus has a fucking ton of good exclusives, honestly.
Like,
Do they?
Does it?
A lot that I like, yeah.
Like what?
They have a lot.
Well, like
I
Beat
mean,
Saber's
the
not exclusive.
Unspoken's really good. That's like a dual wizard casting game. Chronos is fantastic. It's a maybe 12-hour action RPG. It's really good.
Okay. I mean,
It's just no one talks about them.
I was gonna say that nobody's ever
one's
played.
playing. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they're great. I just don't.
They do have good exclusives.
By the time any game if this game starts today or even started months ago, by the time it comes out, we're gonna have PS5, Xbox Scarlet out, and those are gonna have it's a purchasing model people are familiar with, and you can't understate that. And it'll have software that is already in development and has been for 2 years probably by now. I don't know, man. To me, the most value of this is kind of what Adam was saying. It's a marketing tool. It may eventually grow to be something that's as a destination for consumer level stuff, but right now, to me, it's just, hey, play it for 5 minutes. You want to buy it, and then they dump you off on Ubisoft's purchase page.
I only say this because, I mean, for all, I would love to be wrong. I would love for them to be really smart, and these creative types who, they're like, we are going to change gaming forever. The only thing I have to go off of is how YouTube gaming was handled.
True.
Which is, I think YouTube sees gaming. They don't really understand it. They poke it with a stick sometimes and throw money at it.
And they're like, it might be racist.
Yeah.
And no.
They build a house out of it, and then it says the N-word, and they're like, no, it's not a slur. Yeah.
Get rid of it. Get rid of it.
And they're like, but bury. Like, and then they're like, now it's just part of the homepage. Hey, you know, it's like,
You guys have emotes yet? Nah.
if you can explain to me what YouTube gaming was, then I would give you a job at Google. Like, you know, like it's that sort of thing of what was the point of that? And a lot of them were probably like, well, it was us trying to it's like, you're trying to compete with Twitch. Just say it. We were trying to compete with Amazon. I mean, Twitch, yes. So that's the only reason why that's my opinion is skewing that way. So,
I feel you.
make us some money. Sorry.
Well, I just want to say before I moved on, they claim that you'll be able to stream 4K at 60
Oh, yeah.
FPS and eventually 8K at
I wanted to rant about
120
that.
FPS.
That is some
Wow.
Oh, yeah, let Lawrence rant about that after the ad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Lawrence can rant.
I guess I'm loading in. It's like,
Speaking of the internet, our first sponsor for today's show is Squarespace, who pride themselves on an all-in-one system for domains, websites, online stores, and marketing tools. They are the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business, including their newest feature, email campaigns. You can stand out in any inbox with Squarespace email campaigns, and their platform makes sure you're able to unify all your different marketing branches with one consistent voice. There's consistent content from website to email, powerful editing tools to make it your own, customizable layouts for any message, and mobile editing so you can send those emails anytime, anywhere, which is actually really cool. Of course, outside of fancy emails, the biggest hook of Squarespace is turning your cool idea into a full website to showcase your work, blog or publish content, sell products, promote your physical business, or announce an event. I actually really often have people ask me how I made a portfolio when I started out writing about video games. Squarespace would be a perfect place for you to do that if anyone wants to get into games journalism or movie journalism. Basically a cool place that you could host your writing or your resume or your work in general, and it'll all look nice thanks to their fancy templates, which are made by world-class engineers. So that's all pretty cool. Make sure that you head to squarespace.com/dudesoup for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the offer code DUDESOUP, that's all one word, DUDESOUP, to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you to Squarespace. Lawrence.
Got him.
hit him, Lawrence.
4K 60 FPS and eventually 8K and
8K,
120p.
120 frames a second. How are they gonna do that?
16K.
Google can do it all.
Who has an
Yeah.
No, that is just not. and not for the reasons you might think. I mean, so first of all, there's the fact that just to pull down 4K 60, you need an internet connection that most people on this planet don't have.
Except Adam.
Except Adam.
I got it.
And,
I actually have pretty
too.
good internet as well.
but like,
You got fired?
We're very privileged
No, I
in
have
this
300
room.
megabits
We super
down,
are.
so no problem.
so we're trying to hold it down for you guys out there with your 2 megabit data capped connections.
Yeah. I get my internet from a satellite. Oh, it's gone.
That's cloudy shit. Oh, I had satellite internet once. Anyway, it wasn't good. So video compression can work when you know what the next frame is. That's how video compression is largely good. That's how you can deliver 4K video over streaming and actually compress it. If a game, you don't know what the next frame is going to be, especially if there's inputs, unpredictable inputs. I'm sure that, oh yeah, this
Just
happens.
like that.
Yep. Yeah. So that's a B frame missing,
God.
maybe several. But so the way that like it can compress the data flow is by knowing what that pixel is going to shift to 2 or 3 frames down the line, and it can do that if everything's canned. But if it's live and it drops some data, you're going to get some shit like that. Also, it just doesn't look as good if you're compressing on the fly and you don't know what the next frame's going to be. So there's going to be some stuff where, yeah, I'm sure AI can predict where the pixels are going to move on a given display, but it's never, ever going to be as crisp as uncompressed video coming over like a DisplayPort cable. So yeah, it can be 4K 60, but it'll have some fuzz and like weird like AI anti-aliasing going on that'll just, the image quality won't be the same.
I hate to keep referring to OnLive, but when you play OnLive, because I got to review that for a weekend at least. It was exactly what I saw. I saw a ton of compression errors just all the time, artifacting all over it. And it would just like, sometimes the game would just stop, it would just freeze. And then it would come back and be like, oh, I guess that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
Well, I saw someone's comment, I believe on Reddit, where they said they were part of that Project Stream or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The where you could just stream Assassin's Creed Odyssey on your Chrome browser.
Was the Google thing, right?
That was a Google thing.
Yeah.
That was the precursor to this, but more or less. But the individual, I can't quote him. I didn't bring it with me, but he said something to the effect of, the game was cool and it looked good, but it made me want to buy it because I wanted to see it in its full actual glory. Oh. Because I could tell there was artifacting and it wasn't what I wanted it to be. So in a way, it convinced him to buy the full product, which was sort of what Gaikai was trying to do.
Yeah.
Where they're like, here's a crappy version. Imagine if it wasn't. And he went, oh, cool. I'll get the uncompressed 4K textures that are running off of a hard drive instead of Captain Google's house, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and maybe the internet can get to the point where they can. Because essentially what this is like your console is now on the other side of town and the Ethernet cabling between you and that is now a very long like HDMI cord. That's essentially what you're looking at. But compression, like there's just no getting around it. That is going to sap image quality. And for them to be like touting 4K 60 or 8K 120 FPS, that's a statement that only goes to like gamers, the ones who get the sweet code reference on the back of the controller.
And those are the ones who are going to put their noses as high as possible and shrug this off of like, well, no.
That's what I find so confusing.
Because I just spent $900 on a video card and you're telling me that this streaming service could do it? I highly doubt that.
Because on one hand, they're like, this is for everybody. And then they start with technical jargon. And then, I know it's Google. Like there's
teraflops.
Yeah. So why are they slapping teraflops on the table when they're saying this is a service for everyone? I guess you have to fill the speech with something and try and wow people with some technicals.
They're trying to win the gamers up. They're trying to win GDC over. They're talking to GDC, so they know. Everybody knows teraflops. Everybody knows AK 120.
I still don't know what a teraflop is.
I mean, it's just processing
floating.
power.
It's a sex thing.
Yeah.
Floating operations per second.
Yeah, it's just that's all. It's easy. Like it's basically like it's how powerful is your PC.
Sure. I love the part whenever they have a press conference and it's like the whole Xbox thing when they're like, it has millions of transistors and there's like one guy like, do we clap for this?
Is that good or no? I know.
It's like, I mean, teraflops could be terrible. Most people don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
No, that's what I'm saying though. If someone said like, we've reduced the teraflop problem, and people are like,
so
I don't know.
It's only a metric now because speed hit a kind of wall and also became less important. It used to be like, this is 12 gigahertz, this is 18 gigahertz, and like just the faster a CPU got. And then we hit like weird problems with what they call it, the Hall effect and like physics issues of just electromagnetism and how small and fast you can make stuff with heat. So now, instead of that, it's about parallel processing. How much math can you do in a given second? And that's what that is. It's just a float is like a kind of number that has a lot of decimal places, which you need if you're doing physics and lighting.
But they're speaking to developers here and gamers, so like they know who they're talking to.
Yes.
They weren't, I don't know if they were. This wasn't football. This wasn't TV.
I don't think this was even them trying to go mainstream. I don't know how many people are going to know about this. But
they're going for the core.
They were dropping some stats and leaving very important ones off.
Yeah.
So they're like 8K, 120 FPS, blammo, 10 flops, and then they don't say data requirements. They don't say latency.
Yeah, but that's what marketing is.
True, but these are the questions that they're basically asking for mind share, and those are the big questions. Those are the make or break questions, and they didn't even address it, which means they had nothing good to say.
Did you not see the teraflops?
No, there's flops.
Look at all these fucking flops.
The other thing too is this is GDC and it's also Google, who's very buttoned up. And same with Apple. Anytime they show anything, it's like they try to go as vanilla as possible. So it's like your guess is Childish Gambino? No, it's Coldplay because we don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah.
Like you just try to go as middle of the road as possible. So when they came up, they're like, Doom Eternal will run. I told Bruce, I'm like, they're not gonna show gameplay.
No, of course
because
not.
they're probably embarrassed by
That's
it.
a good point. It is very violent.
Because the game, it'd be dun, 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 and then Doom guy runs in and bashes it. There'd be some
Probably
guy.
are right.
Yeah, Eve in the front row would be like, oh,
no, absolutely.
They're like, oh, we got
Stars.
Doom Eternal, but we're like not stoked about it.
Well,
Yeah.
There's also the implication of like your 3-year-old kid is watching a YouTube video and says, "You want to play Doom Eternal now?" And he's like,
yes.
"Dun."
I think it shows the sort of maybe not the bigger problem, but it's sort of like I always felt like bigger companies with gaming almost feel sort of embarrassed by it. It's
They
sort of,
absolutely do.
It's sort of your really smart kid with an emo haircut and like, wearing black eyeliner, and
You're like, he's so
he's
smart.
so- I love him, but
Oh boy, his opinions.
Well,
Yeah.
YouTube's always been embarrassed of gaming. They've been embarrassed of gaming for as long as gaming's been around.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that it proves this because they didn't show any games
Yeah.
in this except for Assassin's Creed.
They showed Rhyme.
Did they show any violence? I don't think they showed one kill. I don't think they showed anything like that.
Nope.
And that was like Lauren said, it's like they didn't tell us about latency. They didn't show us any other game operating on this platform.
I could be wrong. They did the streamer montage, which is my new favorite thing by the
yeah.
by.
Yeah, but it was a bunch
Trying
of
to find the
streamers
cleanest one.
Wow!
But I think it was
A guy in the cheese puff bath.
Nothing
Yeah.
happened.
I saw trials, but even like that montage is like, even that's a
It
little
was sanitary.
Yeah,
Just for everyone's reference, Eurogamer does have up a latency test that they
Is this
tried out.
the Digital Foundry video or article?
No, it's Eurogamer.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet.
How is it?
Well, Digital Foundry.
This is
like
a
Prentice
lot to. It would be hard for me to translate easily, but if you want to read more about it, then yeah.
okay.
So the thing is, like at 60 FPS, one frame is I think 12 milliseconds. So it's really down to like how many frames behind you are. So you hit your stick, and then there's a gap of time where nothing happens.
Basically, yeah, Stadia's latency is higher than a PC or an Xbox One
Yeah.
X.
Well, that's obvious.
So I was just.
Well, I mean, it shouldn't be. That's why if they're trying to match it.
That's what if
There's no
your
way.
goal is to be better than on live. Your goal is to be better than the Xbox you have in your house that you can stream.
That's what they're trying to do.
So because Microsoft does this, where you can stream your Xbox to your PC, and I gave James shit for this all the time because he was like, "Look what you can do." I'm like, "Looks like garbage and it runs slow."
Let me see this. Let me see
Yeah.
this.
It's like it, and I tried it just recently because we talked about this last week. I think when it was like, "Oh, you can stream your PC now to your Xbox." Couldn't get to work. They claim it works. I still haven't. I kind of gave up on the whole thing, but then I was like, well, at least I saw the option to stream the other way. So I tried playing a Halo 3 match on the Master Chief Collection. It was playing in my living room, but it was streaming to my PC. And there was very noticeable lag. Because then I stepped into the other room and it was still playing on the TV, less lag. That's in my home.
Yeah.
That's on my network. And you're telling me with the power of nodes, you have figured this out that you can give me some super internet that's going to get rid of that? I don't believe it.
Well, no, I mean, and that's not what, according to Eurogamer, that's not true.
Yeah.
Basically, like PC had the lowest latency, and then Xbox One X had the second lowest latency, and then the rest were high. Google Stadia was high, and it's
like 188 milliseconds.
See,
yeah. If they want to compete with consoles, it has to be the same latency.
Yeah, that's almost 10 frames, which even internally, sometimes game engines can have 2 or 3 frames of lag, and then like a HD TV that's not on game mode can have, like 200 milliseconds just in itself. So, and yeah, it depends on your monitor, and it depends on your input devices. It depends on a lot of stuff. But
The confusing part to me is casual gamers aren't going to care.
they're not going to notice.
No.
But are casual gamers the kind of people who have really fucking fast internet in the first place to be able to run this?
No.
No, yeah.
But I think there is a factor there. Like there is something, like I think everyone knows lag whether they do or not, which is I think why some people react. Like there's something about Counter-Strike, about Tetris, about Quake, about Doom, 2016's Doom, that are just fast and responsive, and people I think respond to that just like reaction of hitting a button and instantly something happens versus hitting a button and just a fraction of a second something later happens. I think when it comes to marketability, that might also be an issue with Stadia. If they try to use it as a marketing angle and you get this kind of floaty, weird feeling game, I think Assassin's Creed hides it really well because it was built to be like an HD game on HD systems. So it was built around all that with its kind of animation systems. But man, if you try to play a competitive shooter on Stadia and that's the marketing wing for it, and it's really fuzzy, and unless they feed you an easy match with nothing but robots, kind of like PUBG Mobile did.
But their whole thing
Is that legal?
Sure.
I don't know.
They can do whatever they want.
They
It's their
just buried
game.
in the EULA.
I feel like it's misleading. Like if I don't think
Life is an illusion.
EA can
We're all shadows on the wall of a cave.
like if it's a Google first party product, sure. I don't think that they can do that with an EA product that is advertised as being fully multiplayer. I think that that's illegal.
Maybe in your country.
I mean,
It'd be
Alana,
false
They just have to.
advertising.
They
we
just have
want
to sneak
we
it in there
want to
somewhere.
agree with you, but we're not sure because it's their video game and they can kind of do whatever they want. And also, think of it this way: if they update,
It's definitely unethical.
Well,
I don't know if it's.
I would
legal.
agree. But if they update their EULA before you log into Apex next
Nothing
time,
you know about it.
you don't read it. Bang. Okay, now you're playing with robots and you don't know.
Like you agreed to it in perpetuity across all EA products. I mean, it's not
Then
ethical.
why haven't
to,
they done that already?
They
Titanfall.
have.
Titanfall
They,
did that.
no,
Titanfall too.
PUBG Mobile.
They had,
Sorry, PUBG Mobile,
They have
yeah.
bots and multiplayer.
PUBG
that
Mobile.
are
But did they
also
lie
in
to you
fight.
about it?
No. They're
'Cause,
not.
like,
Those
my-
are not players, but
My question is like, why haven't they already done what Lawrence is saying, where it's like, put you in a match with bots, up your stats, so that
feel
you
like
win,
it-
so you keep coming back.
They
I feel
do.
like a game has done that.
They do. When you first play PUBG Mobile, they put you
Oh,
when you
yeah.
first install it. They're like, okay, cool, go in there, and then you go in and you drop in and you kill everyone. Like it's true. I played
it doesn't tell you?
You just kill everybody. Then you win, and you're like, hey, I won.
It might be in the terms of service of like, because you got this game for free or whatever. Ooh.
Yeah. No, they totally do.
They have a quote from someone at Google saying how great it looks. Come on. I mean, whatever. Who else are they going to quote him with stuff?
No bias. It's fine.
It'd be
It's
more
fine.
important if they said it doesn't look good.
It's weird because they. Oh, I remember that guy.
Who's he?
Oh, he's the Digital Foundry guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eurogamer.
Omar's
man.
quick. He already found the
Good
video.
job, man.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you.
Omar.
Yeah,
got
the names that they scooped up, it really just does feel like it feels like we need the press release hires to make people take us seriously so that we can sign some distribution deals. And I think they wanted to hit this with way more agreements in place than they had, because all they had was Assassin's Creed. They even had Eve sitting in the audience for his little presidential wave.
They had id.
They had Doom.
They had the Unreal. They had Unity.
Well, engine level is different. Yeah, sure, engines can run on.
There was
Great.
no studio though, other than id and
There was no
Tequila
slide
Games.
with 20 logos on it,
see,
which is
it's-
what I was waiting to see.
There was one slide with lots of logos, but they were
Google
engines.
logos.
Yeah, there was that one too.
Well,
Where
and
we're trying to
Assassin's
figure out
Creed,
what
it
was
wasn't.
what.
They ported that. Like,
Yeah.
that game was rebuilt. It's not like they were just streaming it.
Gosh, all they had to do was show Fortnite. That's it. All they had to do was show Fortnite and be
they
like,
probably couldn't get.
but
to
they
work.
probably couldn't get it to work. And I bet they couldn't because I'm sure someone tried it. I'm sure of it because they were paired with Unreal. So I'm sure they were talking to
Some
Epic.
marketing exec was like, we just have to get Fortnite.
Yeah, no, I'm sure, and they tried it and they're like, this is broken.
I mean, it runs on your phone. You have to side load it on Android, but that's okay. That's how you get malware, kids.
Yeah.
teraflops.
No, there's just I don't like we were talking about earlier. This sounds to me like we all talked. I think we all probably agree on this that it sounds like they had an idea for marketing before they had an idea for a game, and
Yeah.
that bugs me. I don't like seeing a product before I get to see the thing I'm going to use on that product. And it was the same with VR, where I saw
I
VR, I was like,
don't-
oh, neat, but then they're
I
like,
don't think that's what they're selling. I think that they're trying to sell the idea that you're streaming something, you have it instantly, and you can swap between your devices. I don't think they're trying to sell you the game. They're trying to sell you the ability to swap from your TV to your PC to your
platform.
phone.
They still want you to
but
buy
but
the
again,
game.
but what games? Yeah, but what games can I play on it?
Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Doom Eternal maybe.
Hopefully, everything.
That's, I get it.
That's the goal.
Yeah. I mean, this is very typical. Google. They're like, we built Google Plus. Everyone can use it. No one is using it.
Yeah.
Dang it. It is used for beta access for Android apps. and
Does
that's
anyone
about
use it?
Well, they can't.
It
anymore.
still
They shut it
functions,
down,
right?
yeah, they
Oh,
shut
they
it
shut it down.
No.
Well, they
No
also,
GIFs on it.
even though they forced it on you at one
Google
point.
Hangout was good.
I still use Hangouts.
I hated Hangouts, and that
I like
they're shutting that
messaging
down
over data.
too.
Yeah.
They're completely shutting down Hangouts.
I think
as far
so,
as I
yeah.
know.
It's the one thing I actually use.
Yeah, it worked better than iMessage. for
We
me.
use Gmail. But I don't know. There's also like an issue with Google having access. I don't know what it would do, but you know how they're so good with advertising. James yesterday asked us to pick watches for a brand deal thing, and now I keep getting advertised the watch that I sent him. Like it's happened so quickly because that was through Slack. Like I don't even know how that.
Did you Google it?
No, I just clicked his link and then went through, and now
Oh,
it's
you clicked his
Well,
link.
yeah, it could, it
Yeah,
still
it's
could
through-
be.
it's-
but
in your-
through Slack, and then
It's in your cookies.
but it was on
it no-
Safari. Like it was just like, how
yeah,
did
yeah.
this even happen? And then I guess something about the idea of Google having more access to my time if I'm playing video games, because that's most of what I do. They're also having access to all of that and every input that I have there. I'm like, this is too much power for one company.
To your behaviors. Like, it's one thing to know what you look at and what you like.
What
and,
links I click.
and your emails that you send to everyone. They scrub all that, and now to actually now you're just
Feels like
behind.
they're spending more time with me now.
Yeah, absolutely. You're feeding them more data.
They're listening to us right now.
Yeah, I mean, this thing
Yeah.
right here is listening to our entire conversation. Bruce has one too. Lawrence has one.
Yeah.
I mean, even your phone's probably
They're
certain
listening.
apps are
I promise you, they're listening.
Yeah.
It's crazy because it sounds conspiracy theoristy,
No,
but
it's not. It's
No.
happening.
It's like they really are, though.
That is their business. I love when
We're just giving them more.
Well,
And
yeah,
we
that-
spend so much time playing video games. I don't know how they're gonna mine that data.
Well,
but
that's what really when a game understands you better than you understand yourself to the end of making you spend money. So it's like if a game knows exactly when you give up and walk away, it will push you to that point and then find a way to like it's all just kind of nudging you into spending money is how I see it going. So if you play Dark Souls over Stevia or whatever, then they'll have all the data set they need to determine exactly like how much time and effort you're willing to put into fighting a boss. And then in another game, they might have hooks in there so that Google can be like, if you like tie into our APIs, we can the big AI will tell you when to start backing off on the boss, or to just spontaneously make it harder and then throw a purchasing decision for like a buff in front of somebody. And we have data saying that this player in particular is more likely to do it on the 3rd try, the 5th try, the 8th try. And then I get it's all an illusion anyway, but I kind of like the purity of tackling a game and overcoming a challenge, and I don't like the idea that a robot is twiddling knobs behind the
changing
scenes to
all of
feed my
this
ego.
conversation makes me feel anxious, and
Yeah?
I feel like man yells at cloud for the first time in my life, where I'm like, please don't change video games.
Oh, you did it.
Stop changing.
Oh, they're already doing
I
it.
don't like
yeah.
it.
It's
Alana, they're way ahead of you.
yeah. I mean, you are the product.
The thing,
a lot of the ways.
The best example again is Candy Crush. I have noticed that's the thing is that if you just keep your eyes open for this stuff, you'll see it all over the place.
Yeah.
But I've noticed Candy Crush. There's a little wheel you spin every night to get a prize, get a little prize to play your game. And I've noticed that it'll almost always get right next to the biggest prize.
Yeah.
And then, but it won't ever give it to you the first try. And then it's like, do you want to spin again and watch an ad? And I'm like, I got so close. I'll try it again.
Yeah.
So I do it again. And it doesn't give it to me, of course, right? But see, it fools me. I think it fools me once. And then the next time around, I go,
Oh, it's doing
I
it
know
again.
this game.
But
yeah.
it does it to you every night.
Every single night.
It's
But it's
wild.
only got to do it once for every human being on the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff has been like old coin-op games were notorious for this. It's great actually. Like Ed Boon, still on Mortal Kombat. It's wild, but he's done like breakdowns of how they designed that game to coin-op, which is that they made Goro the second to last boss. Shang Tsung is just some old dude. Who cares? Goro was the actual final boss because they knew that people would coin feed to see the final boss. Because seeing it was the thing, not beating it.
yeah.
So they would coin feed on Goro to get through it, and then they saw Shang Tsung, like some old man, who cares? They didn't need to see the ending of the game. They just wanted to see everything up to the ending.
Right.
So yeah, they put the hardest boss second. And that's one of those things where you don't think about it, but that's why they did it.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
just-
it's like we had our end of the year sort of like anniversary party when Lawrence picked a barcade.
Oh, yeah, geez.
And they had the RoboCop arcade game, and I was like, fuck it, I'll play this game. That game was designed, and I mean, all coin-op
Arcade
games
games,
back
yeah.
then were like that. But like, there was one part where it's like, you get shot no matter what. Like I kept trying the part over and over, and I'm like, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like this game is designed to fuck you. No skill can get you over this because RoboCop moves slow. For the first half, he just punches.
Yeah.
I remember because
To get to the part where he takes his gun out.
I was like, James, play this real quick, and he's like, okay, and it's like he's like, okay, so RoboCop can jump and punch.
He's
And
a
then,
RoboCop.
and then there's
He's a
dudes,
cop.
there's dudes
I know.
running at him and shooting, and he's like, punch, punch, and it's just like the game is designed to fuck you. And then he stops halfway and goes, I have a gun now. And you're like, what the fuck? But I mean that you're right, it hasn't changed in the last 20, 30 years. It's like
The
it's
form is changing.
yeah, it's changing, yeah, but it's the idea is the same. It's get people to pay you money for doing the same thing.
Speaking of making money,
I need to do another ad read. Thank you. I was waiting. Appreciate that.
I know you were. I could see it.
This is Era.
Hello, Eero.
We didn't coordinate that. That
No,
wasn't
you didn't.
planned.
No,
You
no.
usually
Big
just
data
did
made
that.
us do it.
So Eero is a company that has started to build the Wi-Fi they wish they had in their own homes. A fast, reliable connection in every room and the backyard too,
Yeah,
apparently.
let's open it up.
In February 2016, they introduced the Eero Home Wi-Fi system, bringing the idea of multiple access points placed throughout a house to consumers for the first time. Basically, it'll get rid of any range problems that you might have in your house. The new Eero, which is the second generation, and the Eero Beacon allow customers to build a Wi-Fi system that is more perfectly tailored to their home than ever before.
I'm opening it up.
He's opening it
Good
up.
job.
Pop it open, baby.
Live unboxing.
I've done this before.
Finally, we'll get those YouTube views.
I've actually bought this
They
thing.
offer more speed and range in the same high quality, elegant design
Cool.
that people have come to expect. I actually do like the design. It's quite nice.
Also, Type C in the back.
Bang.
That's the best.
for all
With the addition of a third 5 gigahertz radio, the second generation Eero is now tri-band and twice as fast as its predecessor, which lets customers do more simultaneously in every room of their home. Whatever your Wi-Fi needs, Eero has the power to seamlessly blanket your home in fast, reliable Wi-Fi with increased speed and range with powerful tri-band ratios. You also have total network protection, advanced security, content blocking, and ad blocking if you want that as well.
Yeah, I've used them. They're awesome.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. This plugin too has a little light underneath, so it's a little night light.
Oh, that's
Which
cute.
is pretty cool. Yeah, mesh systems are awesome. I'm really happy for these dudes. Actually, and I know one of the guys who works there is a fan.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
he was
cool
my support guy when I was trying to get my my Plex server going.
That's awesome.
He was really nice. And he was like, "Hey, just want to show, big fan." It's like, "Hey, thank you.
Thanks,
You've been
man."
very helpful." Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, so
I keep talking about them.
If there's any room in your house that you can't get full Wi-Fi porn coverage in, and I know this pain, get one of these bad boys.
nothing worse than buffering porn. It's
No,
true.
it's awful. I mean, it's nostalgic, but also
But
bad.
still awful. You can get $100 off the Eero base unit and 2 beacons package and 1 year off of Eero Plus if you visit eero.com/dude and at checkout enter the promo code dude. So that is eero.com/dude.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eero.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Eero.
thank you. Awesome sponsor. I was actually surprised by that. I
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, someone who I like."
Adam likes all of our
No,
sponsors.
I like all. I mean,
Like,
Don't
oh,
misinterpret
all right,
that,
Adam.
audience.
sorry. I'm like, no, I meant like,
Please.
sorry, someone who I had a previous relationship with.
Someone who I know.
Yeah, it's like an old fling coming back, and they're like, "Hey, you want to hang out some more?"
I mean, the
Like,
design is super
me?
nice. It's a nice box.
I-
All right. I don't know how much time we have left. What time did we start, Omar? Do you know?
No.
Like 210.
All right.
You got
We got
8
10 minutes.
minutes
We could talk about astronauts herpes.
Yeah, I wanted to throw in a science segment.
Excited.
First time I hosted, I did that. I just like science.
I like
So
science.
I really like science.
Nerds.
What is it?
you.
Green Goblin's like a bit of a scientist myself.
Is that when he jams 2 fingers into the stuffing?
That's when he's just
Yup.
smiling at Peter.
That was
So-
a weird scene.
Space flight is activating herpes in astronauts.
Good. Cool.
According to CNN.
Activating?
Yeah, so you can't just like get herpes by going to space. It's basically when people already have
What if I
herpes.
fuck space
What?
I don't think space has
and
herpes.
don't wear a condom?
So these are
If
people.
space has herpes,
So
sure.
you're saying people who already have herpes,
Yes.
or it's dormant. It is now
Oh, it
being
causes a
activated.
flare-up?
It causes a
Yes.
flare up of herpes.
And
yes.
so
Sick.
that's a big thing where a lot of people have herpes and never know because they will never have a flare up. So they could not even test positive for herpes, go to space and be like, "Oh shit, I have herpes."
Like Bruce
and they didn't know
refuse to
before
go to
they
the
left.
doctor. That way I don't have STDs.
I don't
never
have
have it.
herpes.
Oh my gosh.
Was it the Onion? That one video? It's like courageous man refuses to get tested for cancer. He's just-
it's about to die.
I don't have cancer.
yeah. He's like,
brave.
"You're so brave." He's like, "Yep." He just dies on the couch.
So the longer astronauts spend in space, the more likely they are to have viruses like herpes, chickenpox, and shingles reactivate. To date, 47 out of 89, which is 53% astronauts on short space shuttle flights, and 14 out of 23 or 61% on International Space Station missions shed herpes viruses, meaning that they like have herpes and may not have tested positive ever before in their lives.
Just don't go to the doctor like I do.
You'll never get it.
Or
to
don't go to
space.
space.
Or don't go to space.
I'll try my best. I would like to.
space.
At some
I don't
point.
have herpes. You have herpes.
Yeah.
So the reason for this
Buzz.
is probably stress, is what they think.
It's definitely stress.
Which, all right.
I know for a fact.
NASA's like, we're not really sure. But Bruce is like, nah, mine flares up when I get stressed.
Well, no,
I mean, I've heard-
the interesting thing about it. So I've had a cold sore virus since I was like 4 because my mom gave it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mom.
What a slut.
And they've all, every time you read about every time you read about cold sore virus, which is herpes, by the way, it is reactivated by stress. So when you get stressed out, usually you'll get a cold sore.
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, you get it from sickness or from stress or something like that.
Something to do with your immune system being down.
Yep, that's right.
Which is something that happens when they are in spaceflight.
Don't their bones shrink or something too?
Yeah,
or-
bone density and
Cool.
muscle density.
It's not
That's
cool.
why they do more exercise in space.
Gotta do those rows, bust 'em out.
Yeah. So it could also be microgravity radiation, whatever else. But the best part
That's why I have herpes.
The worst
Microgravity
superpower.
radiation.
is the thing that sounds really cool to me is that
That wasn't because I fucked a weird chick.
it was your mom.
She had green skin. How do you say no to that, Doc?
Sorry, Lana, you're saying the best part?
When they take shit like this really seriously when it comes to space travel. So this means that people might finally stop being like, well, how do we get rid of stress? And like putting a lot of
that's not where I
resources
thought
into
that was
being
going.
like, we need to get rid of stress because
not
stress
get rid
is
of
causing
herpes.
herpes outbreaks. I mean, that too. I'm less worried about
harder.
You
that.
know what's
I
a
think.
great
Have more stress than
reliever?
herpes.
Space fucking.
Space fuck.
Well, we can lead into that also.
Yeah, she wants
I
to.
was,
how
I
you
was
get-
desperately trying to.
That's how you spread herpes.
Fun fact. Astronauts have tested sex in space to see which positions were possible.
Sure, that's
Basically, to ensure they were forced to ensure reproduction is possible in space.
Oh,
The clipboard.
It's a weird part of this because
That's
if
how I got herpes. I was
everyone's
forced to.
getting herpes activated in space,
wait.
then does that mean when we try to colonize Mars, everyone's just gonna have fucking herpes even worse than it already is?
it'll be Martian herpes.
Space
Well, no. That's not the case. So just because herpes flares up, you're still passing on herpes regardless of whether or not it flares up. Just so you know.
Wait, really?
Like not always, but most of the time.
He's like,
yes.
you
contagious
specifically,
anyway?
Alana, yes.
No, no.
It can,
You
it
did this.
can be, and that's the worst part about like STDs in general is that you just don't know. You just get it. Also,
Is this the line that
I really
you've
don't like thinking about
recited
that.
multiple times?
look.
In the mirror.
Hey,
Well, I don't know about it. There was somebody else.
I want you to watch this Nova documentary. with
There's
me.
no way to know who did what.
I was a victim.
And now you are too. Hasta luego.
Leaves $5 on the counter. There you go. And I'll just take myself out.
It was stress. I was an astronaut. Whatever.
So there was a confidential report on a space shuttle mission in 1996 with a project name STSXX.
STDX.
STSXX.
Got it.
Computer simulations narrowed down the best 10 positions out of 20, and then 2 test subjects tested them in zero gravity
What
conditions.
were they?
Wait, 1996 computer simulations?
Yeah.
I don't trust that
Trying to
at all.
guess which of
Nope.
the 20 would. narrow
That's
down
like
to
a
10.
calculator trying to tell me how to fuck.
Wait, what were the positions?
We don't know. The results were videotaped, but are considered so sensitive that even NASA was only given a censored version because it's 2
What?
people fucking in space
Hell yeah.
who are like professional scientists and not
That's
going to be like,
awesome.
show everyone.
Put it on Pornhub. It'll get 1,000 views.
Only
gotta be
4
garbage 96
positions
quality.
were possible without mechanical.
Which ones?
That's what I'm going to make you
Wait,
guys
when you
guess
say
that.
mechanical, do you have to like...
Everybody pipe the fuck down.
All right.
We got so many questions.
Only 4 positions were possible without mechanical assistance. The
Okay.
other 6 needed a special elastic belt and an inflatable tunnel.
That's like my room.
So it
Yeah.
was like a sleeping
Things we
bag.
already have, yes.
Okay.
The missionary position is
Yep.
impossible in space.
That makes sense. Wait. So does mechanical assistance like include holding on to bars?
Well, missionary position uses gravity.
That's
Yeah.
why it's impossible.
Yeah, it uses
because it
gravity.
requires gravity from the person
Yeah.
on
It doesn't
top.
require
And there's
it.
no up or
You just have to
down.
anchor yourself to something. And then it's just a lot of core strength. That's all.
I mean, look,
They
they're
couldn't do it.
scientists.
Yeah. Listen,
So-
Mr. Scientist, I'll show you.
The
how to
thing
do it.
with I've been in zero
strap her
G,
down.
right? The thing with zero G
Oh my god.
is that any movement fucking pushes you.
Yeah.
You could be like boop and you just fly.
Yeah. Mhm.
And you can't do anything. I tried to play Switch in zero G and it just you
Yeah.
can't. It's so hard to do. So missionary, you're pushing someone all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're just gonna
That's why they got to be strapped.
Bounce
or
away
like
from each
holding
other.
something.
I think what you're saying though is in zero G.
You got to be anchored.
Well, so they're saying with no assistance.
That's what I, yeah.
They said missionary. The missionary position is impossible in space.
Yeah.
That probably means even with assistance, they could not fucking make that
Well,
position.
in Lawrence's nightmare
I refuse
scenario,
to
where
acknowledge
he's
that.
strapping a woman to something and probably
We're strapping
blindfolded.
you down, and
But
I'm
I think
doing
you
it.
both have to be strapped down.
One has to
They
be
say
strapped.
it's impossible.
Someone else just has to have a holding bar. of some
No,
sort. So
because
do
you try and
And then
even
maybe you slip your
thrust,
feet into,
you're
like,
gonna
little-
be, like you okay. You try to push down. The minute that you make contact, your body's gonna go back up.
Yeah. I know.
So you're gonna go like.
That's why you got to be
"Whoa."
holding a bar. And, yeah.
I don't think it'll work.
So do you have the 4
I bet
positions
it
that
could.
actually work?
No, we don't know. It's too classified. That's what I'm like. Try and guess.
Is it doggy style?
I don't know.
They call it the
Doggy
Is that your
style.
guess? What's your guess?
I mean, doggy style will work in zero G, but the problem is like Alana says, is every time you thrust.
Yeah,
You
you
pushed
you'd
away.
have to be
You get
holding,
pushed
but
away.
you, like it'd be difficult.
I
'cause
was
you would
wondering if
essentially have
maybe
to
like
push
the
and pull.
spooning position would work because you
But
could
even
hold
then
on to
there's-
each other.
That's right. You can hug each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't you hug each other in missionary position?
Well, that's different. That's not really missionary. That's called the pearl.
I just feel like the
If
the
like you're both
impact
sitting and like
would
facing
cause you
each
to
other.
push away from each other.
Well, not sitting.
Well,
Spooning is less
floating.
impact. I don't.
Spooning, yeah, would work side by side.
So here's
Was
the
it the
important
Cleveland
thing.
Steamer?
That's just poop.
So I mean, the thing is, like, if any mass leaves your body, it's going to propel you back in the other direction, which is awesome because then finally you might actually be able to like shoot a girl across the room, and then you would fly back too. But
I don't know if that would happen.
You're not
with
shooting
semen.
enough mass to
Yeah,
make any
I don't-
difference.
I don't think it has enough velocity.
Have you guys seen?
I've been drinking a lot of milk, Bruce.
Have you guys seen Love, Death, and Robots yet?
Not yet,
No.
no.
There's an awesome zero G part. That's
Okay.
awesome.
I gotta
Noted.
watch it.
I don't want to get into it, but it's that exact sort of scenario where it's someone in space and they have to use gravity.
Hell yeah.
And it's like,
Gotta get to the airlock. I'm only 5 feet
have
away.
you seen it, Omar?
No, I haven't watched it.
Oh God, that
Thing is,
one.
you'd
that
have to
one's-
ejaculate through the center of your mass, otherwise you'd start spinning. So that's important.
I mean, you move so fast and it's frustrating. You'll try and stay in one place. Like when I did it, I was holding onto the side of a fucking plane and still just like being moved. Like you can't.
That was
do
the
sex wouldn't be fun in space.
that
That's
the
the
Vegas
saddest
thing?
part. Yeah,
that is that plane that goes.
it's
up and
literally
down?
called zero
I
G.
think people would learn.
I don't think it would be fun at all.
hard.
Sex
Get
and zero
there.
G.
I mean, normal sex isn't fun until you figure it out.
I just don't. The movie Gravity was frustrating in the sense that
Oh, yeah.
they're always in that position where they're like, I just can't do anything.
Yeah.
You're just
Right.
like, that sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
Say to Earth where
yeah.
my herpes is just fine.
What about blowjobs?
That could work.
Blowjob in space.
That should be all right.
Hey, you wanna
I think a
simulate it
blowjob
real
would be
quick?
okay.
If you hold together.
Well, 69 then, because then Grim,
69.
Yeah, 69. It's
Yeah,
like
I
wrestling.
feel like those two.
and then-
Like, I mean, you'd be floating around the room, but
Yeah.
I feel like those two would be okay.
I think of the 2001 Space Odyssey station playing.
Oh, you're
Wasn't this
bouncing
the-
off the wall.
Yeah.
This was the movie that was concepted in Thank You for Smoking, right?
Was it?
Yeah, they were like, we
God.
need a movie to make smoking sexy again. It's like, who cares? Like space, it's Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, and they're space fucking, floating in zero G, smoking cigarettes, and the cigarette smoke is going all over them. Like they were concepting a movie, and the entire point of the movie was to have one scene where they were smoking and having sex in space. That's what you guys are talking
I
about.
really don't think it would be fun. That's the thing that upsets me. Is all I want to do in life is go to space. My number one life goal is to go to the International Space Station. That's it. The fact
What
that
if you
sex would
just-
suck up there makes it less fun.
What if you get to the stratosphere and they're like, gotta turn back? Sorry.
It's close
That's-
enough.
that-
Someone
that's
has
pretty
herpes.
Or you,
far.
you get as far as
herpes
Red
alarm
Bull
goes off.
guy, yeah.
I would still do
get,
that over not.
You get far enough to get herpes, but you have to go back.
You get far enough to find out you
Yeah.
have herpes. Is the
You're
thing.
like, oh, damn it.
You're just like, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm not a slut.
It was my mom.
She kissed me. All right.
Good talk.
Yeah, I got to do one more ad read. I can't segue into this in any efficient way.
Oh, there's always a way.
Applying for a loan
Oh,
is a lot like applying for a job that you don't get to interview for. Instead, loan companies make their decisions based off of your credit score and history without getting to know the whole you. Now, thanks to Upstart.com, it never has to be that way again. Upstart is revolutionizing the way you borrow money by rewarding you for your job experience and education in the form of a smarter interest rate. Unlike traditional credit underwriting, which could be biased against people with a short credit history, like me, because I've only been in this country for 4 years, it's very hard to get credit. Upstart goes beyond the traditional FICO score when assessing your credit worthiness. I don't even know if I can get a loan outside of stuff like this at this point because I have no credit history. Upstart believes you're more than just your credit score. They make it fast, simple, and easy to check your rate in less than 2 minutes without affecting your credit score. And the best part, once your loan is approved, the funds will be transferred to you the very next business day. The next day. Over 100,000 people have used Upstart to pay off credit cards, student loans, fund their wedding, or to make a large purchase. Free yourself from the burden of high-interest credit card debt by consolidating everything into one monthly payment with Upstart. See why Upstart is ranked number one in their category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot, and hurry to upstart.com/dude to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes 2 minutes and it won't affect your credit. That is upstart.com/dude. Thank you to Upstart.
thank you.
So that we aren't leaving this podcast on an ad, if you guys could go to space and have sex, what position would you choose?
Doggy style. Something that doesn't activate my herpes.
I think it depends how big the
What's
room
the
is.
least stressful sex position? It's a spooning. It's spooning.
Is it spooning?
Yeah, because you're both just laying there.
Well, not in zero G.
No, you're floating,
Nobody's
right?
laying anywhere.
I don't like what it does to my left arm. Also assume I'm on my left side.
You could have just said arm.
There is no left in space. Oh, wait, yeah, there is.
Yeah, there's still left.
There's just
There's
not.
That's not how that works.
I'm going to go with Pearl.
Okay.
It's a good one.
Yeah. I'm fond of it.
It's a toss up between the pile driver and a Turkish backpack.
Alana, but what about you?
I feel like I'd want to find a way to make missionary work.
Good for you.
Just because they say it's impossible.
You'll get a Nobel Peace Prize. It's gonna
Dreamers.
be weird
I
with
might.
that giant herpes on your
Yeah.
lip.
Fuck!
What's the
NASA needs streamers.
Nobel Prize go Alana Pierce and her whorish complexion.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
So wait, has a woman conceived in space?
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah,
No, that hasn't happened yet.
I'm fascinated by that stuff, like the unintended side effects. Maybe we'll get weird demon babies, or like they got two big skulls or something.
It'll eventually be less stressful, but based on this, it seems like if we go colonize Mars, everyone's gonna be fucking stressed, or everyone's gonna have herpes.
Well, yeah, but like I'm thinking more like if a baby is conceived and goes to term in space,
How
and then you bring it
different
to
is that?
Earth, like is the air just going to get squished out of its lungs by gravity and
Yeah.
stuff? That's going to be scary.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people have
a
said.
good
Like
question.
you're raising a kid on the moon or Mars,
Yeah.
they have different gravity, different
Moon children.
I mean, the way that they're formed is different.
Yeah.
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 There was
The human body has not yet evolved to a point where it can deal with the stress of outside.
I mean,
planetary
radiation's
forces.
the biggest problem, and they don't know what that's going to do to children.
Nah, it's
either.
fine.
They're so
Cancer,
overexposed to
Give my
radiation.
kid 3 legs.
One of my favorite Japanese animes dealt with a lot of those issues.
I'm sure
As
that it
opposed
did.
to American animes.
There was like Genlock. There was there was an
Avatar.
episode.
There's at least 3.
One of the characters was like had like made space friends with this girl who seemed like she was like 20 but was acting really strangely, and then it turns out that like she was born on the moon and her body just grew too fast because gravity wasn't like compressing her, so she was like 8 and so she was behaving like a child. The thing is, like, it was an anime, so you couldn't really tell, but by the end of it,
Boy, you are treading dangerous ground right now.
it wasn't creepy.
On
They just
YouTube.
hung out.
She's 800 years old.
Oh, you guys.
She looks like a child, Dad.
We gotta end this.
It wasn't romantic at all.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Do let us know in the comments
Now I know why
what
you got that
positions of
herpes.
sex you'd have in space. Congrats on your herpes. All right, we'll see you all next week.
But yeah, for those of you joining that are not familiar with me, hi. My name's Sam Anthix. I'm a friend of James Williams, close friend, very close friend.
Really?
I'm joined today by Adam Kovic,
Hi, Sam.
Lauren Sontag,
Hello.
and of course, James Williams.
Hi, Sam.
Hi,
Pound
James.
it.